Hey everybody, it's me here, Professor Zach, and I am back with more Doctor Who. Another Doctor Who review, 73 yards. Before we go ahead and hop into this review, please like, share, and or subscribe. Hit us up, check us out the Night Shift Minutes on all podcasts and platforms. Please donate to us and hit up Perspective Discussions where we talk love, life, and relationships. And while we look at some Akuma gameplay, we're going to go ahead and talk Doctor Who. Again, this episode is called 73 Yards. And first, initial impressions before I go into spoilers, as always, what the hell was this episode? That's all I got to say. I thought I was missing something when I finished it up. I didn't do a second viewing of it. Maybe I should have, but I think I'm definitely going to at least watch this 2 or 3 more times because this episode, it was good. Good episode. Fantastic episode. But this was an episode. This was an episode that I feel like we'll get our answers for it later on. But I also feel like this is just a weird episode. Mainly it's how it's structured. So I'm gonna hop into spoilers like later on, like right now actually, because just know this episode's good. Go watch it. Yeah, but spoilers from here on out. So this episode already starts off being weird, right? We don't get an intro. So normally in my experience when TV shows don't give you an intro, that means we're about to go in immediately. We're wasting no time. Something big is gonna happen, right? So you're already setting the tone up for what this episode's gonna be. So you already know it's gonna be an interesting episode in a sense that, like, okay, we're about to go into some stuff. I feel like everything just happens so casually too, because once, ooh, look at that, Raging Demon, let's go. Because I feel like once the Doctor and Ruby landed, and what was that? I think it was the Doctor who stepped on the little string thing that started all of this. That's when things just started getting weird. And I know we're in this whole realm of mythologies becoming reality for some reason. And I think, thinking back to it, a lot of people are saying it's because of the second special, Wild Blue Yonder, when the Doctor actually used the salt to stop the Nothings or whatever they were called, those aliens. And that's like a more of a superstition where you use salt to stop demons, you know, which, you know, if you're familiar with any kind of demonology or anything, you know, that's pretty common. But that's pretty much what's causing like all these mythologies from all these gods to come forth. That's what caused the Toymaker to come forth, Maestro, the goblins, all of it, which I'm enjoying. I'm enjoying like the Doctor going off against these mythological beings, these superstitious beings. Kind of gives them, it's kind of like a different type of enemy than what the Doctor has fought before. So I love it. But anyway, once Doc steps on that string, Doc disappears, and then it's just Ruby, and then we just simply go through Ruby's life without the Doctor. And the issue is that the Doctor suddenly is gone, and Ruby sees a woman literally 73 yards away, which you could barely see a person. Like they're a blur at 73 yards away. Like Russell T Davies literally wrote that into the script, where yes, at 73 yards, it's when a person's like barely visible, like they're a blur. And I'll just come out and say it, for at least up until like what, Ruby's like 80 years old, this woman is there, you know? And it's frightening Ruby because every time anyone who isn't Ruby, interacts with this person, they look at Ruby and then run away. So it makes me wonder, for one, what is this person saying to make these people run away? Which, from what I understand, Russell T Davies isn't going to reveal that at all. Which I'm fine with. I won't lie. I'm fine with that. Like, you don't have to reveal it. But there's a specific reason why people literally react the same way when they interact with this woman. They literally talk to the woman, look at Ruby, and then run away in the opposite direction of Ruby. So it makes me wonder what's really going on. In the end, since we're going to spoilers, in the end we do find out that's actually Ruby herself as an older woman. But again, is it a time loop? Is it what's going on here? Because it's to me it's a little bit confusing because, and again, I'm gonna skip to the end because this is like the biggest mystery of the episode that I'm gonna get into. I won't even lie to you all. In the end, when old Ruby, because it does go from phases of her life, right? Again, watch the episode. I'm hopping into spoilers. I assume you've seen the episode already, but pretty much this episode goes through phases of Ruby's life, and all the way up until she's like 80 years old, on her pretty much on her deathbed essentially, and the lady is still there. But the thing is that the lady gets closer and closer, and it cuts to black, and next thing you know, we see old Ruby literally looking at the doctor, a young Ruby getting out of the TARDIS, pretty much looking at the beginning of the episode from her perspective. But in the end, the doctor doesn't step on the little string things. I'm sorry, I don't know what it's called. I'm pretty sure if you're from Britain or from Europe in general, you know exactly what those things are called. I'm sorry. But pretty much, it's like a little ritual thing. Something kids would do, if you will, you know? But, so, it makes me wonder, like, was this a time loop? Was this, like, some kind of just, what was this? Because again, the time loop part doesn't make sense because Ruby was on her deathbed, and then the old lady walked towards Ruby, didn't say anything. And then, but again, I have to ask, what caused all of this? Like, was it really the string? Was there something attached to that string? Like, what happened that put Ruby through this time loop to begin with, and what made the doctor disappear? Because we still didn't find out where the doctor went. Like, the time loop ended at the beginning of the episode, and I guess, like, the doctor didn't step on the little ritual thing at first. And yeah, like she did, yeah, like I guess things are just normal. So from this new timeline's perspective, Ruby and the doctor just visited Welsh, and that was it, you know. Whereas in the other timeline, I don't know if that's the original or not, Ruby lives out her life with this weird lady just making these weird hand signs at her from 73 yards. So it's kind of a weird episode, and I do see a lot of buzz online of people saying, okay, what's going on, what's this and the other. People got theories, which is what I love to see. Like, I love seeing people having theories. I love seeing the Doctor Who community actually just go in and actually see what's going on with this episode, dissect this episode, because this is an episode that needs to be dissected. This is an episode that needs to be talked about. And this is an episode that needs to just actually just be be looked at in a wider scope. And I think we probably won't find out what's going on again until the end of this season, because whatever Ruby is, whatever that mystery box is, this has to be related to that. It has to be. It really has to be, you know what I'm saying? So it's like we have to figure it out. We have to figure this out. And like, I know Russell T Davies, which is something I'm thankful for, said that we're gonna get all of our answers in this season. So I'm cool with that. But with the way this ended, and with the way the time loop happened, and there's so many questions about Ruby, even more questions about Ruby, even more questions about this old lady. Why did it affect Ruby in the way it did? Hell, it probably didn't affect Ruby. It probably only affected the doctor and took the doctor out of the equation. Thus, Ruby was just living her life without the doctor at this moment. Because it almost seemed like the doctor was taken out of her life prematurely. Thus, Ruby's life happened the way it happened. Granted, there were a few things that happened in between her losing the doctor and her finishing out her time loop, but it just seemed like there were things that it seemed like something weird was happening. And storyline wise, if I can get through that real quick, of course, like I said, we see Ruby talk to various folks, and they're scared of the little witch, of the old lady. She even runs to Kate, Kate Stewart, who's the leader of unit, Brigadier's daughter and all that. And even she's affected by the old ladies, old Ruby's magic, or whatever this is. So, and even Ruby actually uses her quote-unquote demon for good and uses it to stop an evil politician from pretty much causing a nuclear war. So it was that part, I won't lie, that part was pretty cool to me. But all I have to say is that I feel like this is just such a weird episode, that this is the question and the answer's coming later on. Actually, I think that's a good way to put this episode, is that fact that, and for those of you who have watched it, I'm sorry if it sounds like gibberish, because that's how much of a complicated episode this is. Like literally, like this episode sounds extremely complicated, or it is extremely complicated. Like it's not complicated to understand, but it's complicated. But the more you talk about it and try to dissect it, it becomes complicated in the sense that you don't know what's going on, and even the way it ends doesn't feel like it's complete. That's why I say like it's a question, because there's a whole lot of questions that are being asked here that you might have that have not been answered. As a matter of fact, I think the only question that was really answered was, who was the old lady? Who's the old lady that was following Ruby around, which we found out that's Ruby herself, which brings up even more questions, because why is Ruby stuck in a time loop? What really happened to the doctor? What happened with the TARDIS? Why is everyone running away from Ruby when they interact with this lady? And then when people ask her, oh, where did the lady stay? They say, oh, ask her. Then they ask her, then they run away from Ruby. And it's like, what the hell? What the fuck? You know what I'm saying? So I'm sorry if this is just, again, this is spoilers anyway. You should be watching this episode anyway. I'm sorry. So you can fully get it, Like again, if you haven't started watching Doctor Who, this season's the perfect time to start, and you're starting in one hell of a place. Like, but to go ahead and hop into a few other things here, so the majority of this episode, I would say like 95% of this episode, we're just with Ruby, as you probably got from my explanation. That probably did horribly. And Millie Gibson, she holds up on her own, which, no surprise, she's a pretty decent actress, and she holds up on her own. And she actually does have the charisma and the performance I don't mind being around her. I don't mind being around Ruby and talking to Ruby and being with Ruby. Not talking to Ruby, I can't talk to Ruby. But I don't mind her just being there, I don't mind just having a episode dedicated to Ruby Sunday. So the thing is that about about this episode is that, you know, Millie Gibson, she does her thing. She definitely does her thing. The way the cinematography in this episode is fantastic. Not in the sense that, like, again, it's a work of art, but in the sense that it does portray the eeriness and the weirdness of what this episode has to offer. Because again, step one, this episode feels weird. It's eerie. There's no intro. Like, what the hell? Like, what the... It really do just feel weird as hell, you know? So, it's not... It's oh, I didn't even play that again, but hey, we'll do it. Whatever. I'll go on to the next one. Sorry, guys. I'm over here trying to get my thoughts together because I'm like, this episode is just, they do a great job. I'll say this much, and this one I can definitely say, they do a great job of portraying that eerie feeling. Like I said, the cinematography does it great. You have a lot of shots where it's zoomed in uncomfortably at an angle, you know, and it just feels fake, especially with the way people deliver their lines too. Like, for example, when Kate was talking to Ruby at that cafe, it kind of didn't feel real. It didn't feel like Kate Stewart, you know. It didn't feel like Kate was there, even when Kate was talking, not Kate, even when Ruby was talking to her mom, you know, and what partook in that didn't feel real. Like, a lot of characters that wasn't Ruby did not feel real at all, you know. Like, so it makes me wonder, is this a separate timeline that, like, that's not supposed to exist? Because again, a lot of mythologies and a lot of things the Doctor said that shouldn't exist, they are existing right now, and it seems like the rules of the universe are changing, so, or have changed. So we'll see. But I mean, I won't lie to you, there's not much I can really say because again, this episode feels like a question and we don't have any answers as of yet. So I don't know, guys. I really don't know. Overall quality of the episode, it was good. Like, I did like the eeriness of it, and I think I said this in my last review. I was really looking forward to this because it was going to be so eerie, and it wasn't really horror-esque, but it was definitely an eerie episode and an interesting episode, and a beautiful episode. But I do want to get answers to this. I do need for this to be broken down, and hopefully we get those answers soon. I really hope we get those answers soon. But I'm gonna end it off here, guys. I know this is kind of a weird review. I'm sorry, but this was a weird episode. I won't even lie to you. This is definitely a weird episode. I don't know. It's like the more I think about this episode, the more I'm just like, a lot of stuff here does not make sense. A lot of stuff here is weird. It was eerie. And I mean, if that's what Russell T Davies wanted, he did a great job, you know? But ultimately, overall, good episode. I really wanted the answer to this. Again, this feels like a question. I need an answer. I need it. Y'all have a good one. It's me, Professor Zach. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hit us up. Check us out. Nice events on everything. Hit up Perspective Discussions on everything and donate to us. And yeah, please continue to join me on this journey of Doctor Who. I swear, like, my reviews aren't normally like this. I have some kind of coherency, but this episode, man, every time I think about it, it just makes my mind just, it makes my mind wander. I get lost in thought, you know. Sorry for the long pauses and everything, but I just get lost in thought. So I'll talk to y'all next week. Peace.